Words can shape empires, ignite revolutions, and heal broken souls. But some words go beyond inspiration. They strike us with such clarity and truth that we are left speechless. The Stoic philosophers, who lived over 2,000 years ago, were masters of this art. With just a single phrase, they could dismantle illusions, reveal life's deepest truths, and point the way to lasting peace. These phrases were not meant to impress, but to awaken. They remind us of what really matters, of how little control we have over the outside world, and how much power we have over ourselves. They are like lightning, brief, sharp, unforgettable. In this video, we'll explore 7 surprising Stoic phrases that continue to leave people speechless even today. Each one carries a hidden depth, a challenge to how we see ourselves and the world. And if you truly take them to heart, they can change the way you live. So, let's begin with the first Stoic phrase that has the power to stop you in your tracks. Phrase number 1. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. This is perhaps one of the most famous lines from Marcus Aurelius' Meditations, and yet, every time you hear it, it feels like a sudden slap of clarity. It's short, simple, but deeply unsettling, because it forces you to confront the truth about control. Think about how much of our suffering comes from trying to control things outside ourselves. We stress about what others think of us. We get angry when people don't act the way we want. We feel frustrated when life throws obstacles in our path. But Marcus reminds us all of that lies outside our control. The only thing we can truly command is our own mind, our perceptions, our judgments, our choices. The phrase is powerful because it shifts responsibility inward. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the Stoic asks, "How am I responding to what is happening?" That shift transforms weakness into strength. When you stop wasting energy fighting what you cannot change, you free up energy to master yourself. Imagine being stuck in traffic. Most people fume, curse, and let anger poison their mood. But what changes if you apply Marcus's wisdom? The traffic doesn't magically clear, but your mind does. You accept the reality, maybe turn on an audiobook, maybe reflect in silence. Instead of being controlled by the situation, you control your response. That's true strength, not bending reality to your will, but bending your will to reality. Modern psychology echoes this Stoic insight. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which helps millions overcome anxiety and depression, is rooted in the Stoic idea that we don't suffer from events themselves, but from how we interpret them. Change your thoughts, and your world changes. This phrase leaves people speechless because it takes away excuses. No more blaming the weather, the boss, or the neighbor. The battlefield is within, and victory is possible. As Epictetus, another Stoic, put it, we suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them. Next time you feel powerless, remember Marcus's words. Strength is not found in controlling the world. It's found in mastering your mind. Phrase number 2. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Epictetus. This phrase from Epictetus cuts through one of the deepest roots of human suffering, our imagination. Notice carefully what he says. We're not destroyed by the actual weight of life's challenges, but by the exaggerated fears and stories we build around them. Think about it. The exam isn't unbearable. It's the weeks of dread beforehand that crush you. The meeting with your boss isn't terrifying. It's the catastrophic scenarios you invent in your mind. The illness itself may be painful, but the endless what-ifs of the future create even more agony than the disease itself. Epictetus is telling us that reality is often neutral compared to the storms of thought we conjure. Our minds create shadows larger than the objects casting them. Imagine walking into a dark room. In the corner, you see what looks like a snake. Your heart races, your palms sweat, fear floods your body. But when the light turns on, you realize it's just a rope. The danger was never real, it was imagined. And this is how most of our anxieties work. Modern neuroscience supports this insight. Studies show that the human brain's threat detection system, the amygdala, fires up not only when danger is present, but also when we merely think danger might be coming. The body reacts to imagination as though it were reality. That's why Epictetus's wisdom is timeless. Mastering our thoughts means cutting off most of our unnecessary suffering at the root. Seneca echoed this when he wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He gave the example of a man sentenced to death who spends days in torment, not because he is yet dead, but because he keeps dying in his mind before the execution ever happens. How much of your life has been wasted suffering over things that never even came true? Here's the Stoic response: return to the present. The present moment rarely crushes us. It is the future we fear and the past we regret. If you face only what is in front of you right now, without multiplying it with imagined horrors, you find that most burdens shrink. Take Marcus Aurelius's daily practice. He reminded himself each morning that he would meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful. Instead of being surprised or anxious about it, he trained his mind to expect it. By facing reality honestly, he stripped away the fear. This phrase leaves people speechless because it reveals how much of our pain is self-created. The world is heavy enough without us adding phantom weights to our own backs. So the next time anxiety grips you, ask, am I suffering from the problem or from my imagination of the problem? That simple question can free you from needless torment and bring you back to the only place where strength exists, the present moment. Phrase number 3. If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. And this you have the power to revoke at any moment. Marcus Aurelius. This line from Meditations is one of the most empowering reminders from Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius is teaching us something radical. Nothing outside of you has the power to disturb you, unless you grant it permission. Think of it this way. An insult, in itself, is just sound waves hitting your ears. It has no meaning until you interpret it, until you let those words penetrate and attach themselves to your identity. If a stranger shouts at you in a language you don't understand, do you feel hurt? Of course not, because you don't attach meaning to it. The pain is not in the words, it's in your evaluation of the words. Marcus is not saying that nothing in life is difficult. Death, loss, betrayal, these are real experiences. But the weight of them depends on the story you tell yourself about them. This is where Stoic strength lies, in recognizing that while you can't control what happens, you can control how you judge it. Seneca illustrated this with the metaphor of fire. He said that a fire takes whatever is thrown into it, wood, debris, waste, and turns it into fuel. In the same way, the wise person can take whatever life throws at them and convert it into growth, resilience, and wisdom. The event itself doesn't dictate whether you are broken or strengthened. Your judgment does. Let's take a modern example. Imagine two people lose their jobs on the same day. One spirals into despair, convinced that life is over, that they are worthless. The other feels disappointment, but quickly reframes it. This is a chance to redirect my career. I'll use this as an opportunity. The external event is the same, but the internal response makes the difference between collapse and growth. This is why Marcus Aurelius reminds us that the power to revoke is always in our hands. At any moment you can challenge your perspective. You can pause, breathe, and say, is this truly unbearable? Or is my judgment magnifying it? Epictetus echoed this wisdom when he said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. These two Stoics, one a former slave, the other an emperor, lived worlds apart, but they shared the same truth. Your inner fortress is impregnable if you do not surrender it to external judgments. Think of Nelson Mandela, who spent 27 years in prison. He later said that if he had allowed bitterness to consume him, he would have remained imprisoned even after his release. What freed him was not merely the removal of chains, but the mastery of his mind, the refusal to let external injustice define his spirit. So what is the Stoic practice here? Next time you face something that disturbs you, whether it's an insult, a rejection, or even a loss, remind yourself, this is not the thing itself. This is my estimate of it. Then ask, can I see it differently? Can I reframe this? For example, instead of I failed, you can say, I learned. Instead of they disrespected me, you can say, their behavior reveals them, not me. Instead of this is the end, you can say, this is the beginning of something else. The ability to revoke your judgment is the ultimate freedom. No one, not your boss, not your enemies, not even fate itself, can control how you choose to interpret reality. That power belongs to you alone. This is why Marcus's words leave people speechless. They remind us that the true battlefield is not the world around us. It's the world inside us. Phrase number 4. We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Seneca, this statement from Seneca hits like a mirror held to the human condition. How much of your life has been consumed by fears that never came true? How many nights have you lost sleep, imagining disasters that never arrived? Seneca reminds us that reality itself is rarely as cruel as the imagination. A soldier marching into battle may be less tormented than the civilian who spends weeks worrying about a war that never touches him. The mind has the power to create prisons more terrifying than actual walls and chains. Modern psychology confirms this. Research shows that over 80% of our anxieties concern things that never actually happen. In other words, most of our suffering is self-inflicted through mental rehearsals of pain. Imagine a man awaiting medical test results. For days, he imagines the worst outcome, picturing his life destroyed, his family in despair. His body suffers as if the illness is already present. His heart races, his sleep disappears, his stomach aches. And yet when the results arrive, they show nothing serious. The suffering was real, but only in his imagination. Stoicism teaches us to break this cycle. Seneca encourages us to ask, is this pain real, or is it my anticipation of pain? By separating imagination from reality, we reclaim peace. Marcus Aurelius echoed this when he wrote, "Do not let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Do not try to picture everything bad that could happen. Stick with the situation at hand." This Stoic practice shrinks the giant shadow of fear back down to its true, often smaller size. The practical exercise is simple. When fear arises, name it. Write it down. Then ask yourself, has this happened yet? Am I suffering from reality or from possibility? This mindfulness transforms imagined storms into manageable ripples. By realizing that most of our suffering is imaginary, we gain the freedom to live more calmly, more presently, and more courageously. Phrase number 5. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. Marcus Aurelius. This phrase strikes at the heart of what Stoicism teaches about mortality. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by wars, plagues, and constant reminders of death, reminds us that the real tragedy is not death itself. It is failing to live fully while we are alive. Death is inevitable. It is the one destiny shared by emperors and slaves, rich and poor, wise and foolish. To fear it endlessly is to waste the very life we claim to want to protect. What we should fear, Marcus says, is reaching the end only to realize we never truly lived. Living in the Stoic sense does not mean endless pleasure or luxury. It means presence. It means courage. It means waking each day and doing what is in your power with dignity and purpose. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." He explained that life, when well used, is long enough. But when we squander our days in distraction, complaint, and fear, we die having never truly embraced existence. Think of how often people live in waiting for the right job before they chase their dreams, waiting for the right relationship. Before they show love, waiting for the perfect time before they live. Courageously, and then death comes and waiting ends. The Stoic response is to live now, to act as if each day might be your last, not in despair, but in urgency and gratitude. Marcus practiced this himself by reminding his mind, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. This phrase leaves people speechless because it flips fear upside down. Instead of fearing death, Stoicism tells us to fear the wasted life. Instead of obsessing over when the end will come, we should obsess over whether we are alive today. Ask yourself, if you were to die tonight, would you regret how you spent this day? If the answer is yes, then Marcus's words are your call to live differently. Today, not tomorrow. Phrase number 6. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus, freedom is a word everyone loves, but few understand. We often think freedom means doing whatever we want, eating what we please, saying what we want, buying what we desire. But Epictetus, the Stoic who was once a slave, gives us a shocking reminder. Freedom isn't about external conditions. It's about inner mastery. Imagine a man who can travel anywhere, buy anything and indulge in every pleasure. Is he free? Not if he is enslaved to his anger, his cravings, his fears, or the opinions of others. His life looks free, but his soul is chained. Now imagine another man confined to a small space with little wealth, little recognition, but he is calm, disciplined, unshaken by insult, and unbroken by desire. According to Epictetus, this man is free because no force outside of him rules his spirit. True freedom, then, is not political. It is personal. It is the ability to govern your impulses, to rule your mind instead of being ruled by it. Marcus Aurelius echoed this when he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. This phrase leaves people speechless because it forces us to confront our own hidden chains. Ask yourself, do you get angry whenever someone insults you? Then you are a slave to insult. Do you need approval before you feel worthy? Then you are a slave to opinion. Do you lose control around temptation? Then you are a slave to desire. The Stoic path to freedom is self-mastery. It is the daily discipline of ruling yourself before life rules you. This is not easy, but every moment you resist impulse, every time you choose wisdom over weakness, you take one step closer to true freedom. Phrase number 7. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think. Marcus Aurelius, perhaps the most shocking of all Stoic reminders, this phrase is both sobering and liberating. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor-philosopher, lived with constant awareness of mortality. Not because he was morbid, but because he understood that remembering death is the surest way to live fully. Most people live as if tomorrow is guaranteed. They put off kindness, delay forgiveness, postpone courage. I'll do it later, they say. But Marcus cuts through the illusion. You may not have later. You may only have now. This reminder is not meant to frighten. It's meant to awaken. Death is not the enemy. Unconscious living is. By remembering that you could leave life at any moment, you strip away pettiness, pride, and procrastination. You focus on what matters: truth, virtue, and love. Seneca called this practice memento mori, remembering mortality. He said, let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. By meditating on death, we don't become gloomy, we become grateful. Every sunrise becomes a gift. Every conversation becomes precious. Every action becomes intentional. Think of the power of this perspective. If you knew you had only one more day, would you waste it scrolling endlessly, arguing pointlessly, or delaying your dreams? Or would you live with purpose, courage, and love? This phrase leaves people speechless because it pierces through our greatest illusion. The time is infinite. By realizing how fragile life is, we learn to live not in fear, but in urgency, gratitude, and wisdom. These 7 Stoic phrases are not just words from dusty books. They are living wisdom. Each one challenges us to see life differently, to master our minds, to strip away illusions, and to live with courage and clarity, from Epictetus's call to self-mastery, to Seneca's warnings against imagined fears, to Marcus Aurelius's daily reminder of death. Each phrase cuts through the noise of life and brings us back to what truly matters. If you let these teachings sink in, they will change how you see yourself, how you handle pain, and how you face the world. They will remind you that freedom, peace, and strength are never out there. They are always within. So the next time life tests you, remember one of these phrases. Carry it in your heart. Let it shape your response. And watch as people are left speechless, not because of your power, but because of your calm, your wisdom, and your unshakable presence.